Coming up on Hoosier Sports Night, the men's basketball team faces off against the 17th ranked Ohio State Buckeyes on the road.
And the women's tennis team gears up for a tough set of matches against Marquette and Cleveland State. This is Hoosier Sports Night.
Welcome to Hoosier Sports Night. I'm Pi Mamadi.
And I'm Meredith Struing.
The IU men's basketball team came up short when they played Ohio State on Tuesday night. Men's basketball beat reporter Zan Piarli was at Value City Arena to catch the action.
After playing first place Purdue Sunday, Indiana had a quick turnaround playing second place Ohio State Tuesday. From the beginning, Indiana was outmatched as they found themselves down 14 9 minutes into the game and could never recover, losing 71-56.
You know, you don't necessarily win or lose the game in the first 4 minutes, but there is a tone that could be set that you hope that your guys recognize is really important. And they did, and I was pleased with them.
With just one day to prepare for this game after playing Purdue on Sunday, there was talks of if Indiana was tired or not tonight on the floor.
You got to come out and fight. Everybody's playing the same amount of games as we are. We can't go out and play fatigued in the first 8 minutes. I think they had like 25, a lot of points in the first 8 minutes, and those are just things we can't allow if we want to stay in games.
I think if you have to poll every coach, though, you know, every coach has their own, like I said, rhythm. You know, Ohio State probably came off one 2 or 3 weeks ago or a week and a half ago where they had 4 and 8. You know, I think we're getting 7 and 17 days or something like that, and you know, 4 and 8 or 5 and 12 days. You know, it's difficult.
I do think probably Indiana had some tired legs, and I recognize that. I think that's just reality, having some tired legs given what they came off of.
Now that Indiana is through its grueling 4 games and 8 days stretch, they get 3 days off before going back at it against Michigan State at home. For IUS TV Sports, I'm Zan Piarli.
The loss marks IU's record as 12-11 for this season. Hopefully they will have more luck this Saturday when they take on the number 5 ranked Michigan State Spartans at Assembly Hall. Tip-off is at 8:15.
Freshmen on the IU women's water polo team served as pivotal players to secure their 4 regular season wins in the last week. Our very own Jeffrey Matthews has the story.
Indiana started the weekend with an impressive 19-4 win against Toronto University in an exhibition match Saturday morning. 11 different Hoosiers got in the score column, led the way by freshmen Jewel Holofsky and Carly Crumball, who both scored hat tricks in the game. In the nightcap, Indiana faced a tougher test in 14th-ranked UC Santa Barbara Gauchos. Indiana used a fourth-quarter comeback and a strong defensive stand to win a hard-fought game 7-6. Senior goalkeeper Jessica Goodrow accounted for 10 saves and 3 steals and helped shut out the Gauchos in the fourth. Indiana's defense was able to kill all 6 of UC Santa Barbara's power plays on the night. Sophomore Molly Williams scored 4 goals to keep the Hoosiers in the game before senior Sarah Young added the equalizer, and freshman Jessica Rodriguez lofted a shot over the goalie's reach to put the Hoosiers on top. Sunday saw the Hoosiers continue their home dominance when they beat the number 25 Iona Gales and McKendree Bearcats. Neither team posed a threat to Indiana as they would win 17-8 and 14-3. Sophomore Megan Aberta scored 7 goals on the day, while senior Kelly Matthews entered the score column when she notched her 37th career hat trick against Iona. The Hoosiers' defense stood strong as they went on to force 23 steals in both games. Indiana will have 2 weeks away from competition before they travel to San Diego, California to take part in the Triton Invitation at UC San Diego. For IUS TV, I'm Jeffrey Matthews.
The Indiana women's tennis team hosts Marquette and Cleveland State this weekend. IUS TV sports beat reporter Spencer Aber has the preview.
After coming off 2 wins last weekend, the Indiana women's tennis team looks ahead to Marquette and Cleveland State. Last season, Marquette defeated Indiana 4-3, while Cleveland State has won the Horizon League 2 times in the past 3 years. Head coach Ramiro Azwe knows that these matches will not be easy for his team.
Marquette, we lost to Marquette last year. After we had such a great win against Purdue, we came home and we lost to Marquette 4-3. So I think it's going to be another dogfight. Cleveland State won the conference and the Horizon League like 2 or 3 years in a row. So I think they're going to give us our hands full again, and I think we need to be better prepared next week.
Reporting for iOS TV Sports, I'm Spencer Aber.
The matches will begin at 11 o'clock and 5 o'clock on Saturday at home. For updates on those matches, be sure to follow at iOS TV Sports on Twitter.
The IU men's and women's swim and dive teams traveled down to Kentucky this past weekend to wrap up their season against the Louisville Cardinals. The number 3 ranked Hoosier men didn't have any trouble defeating Louisville, winning by a score of 184.5 to 115.5. The 7th ranked women also took the victory against their 10th ranked opponents with a score of 160.5 to 139.5. Ian Finnerty and Lily King both swept the breaststroke events, while Vinnie Lanza swept the men's butterfly events, and diver Jessica Parado won both of her events as well.
The 2 IU teams also combined to win 3 of the 4 team relays, and 4 Hoosiers combined to win a total of 5 freestyle events. For the women, this win is their 2nd in a row and will bump their record up to 5-4 to end the season. For the men's team, their victory secures them their 2nd consecutive undefeated season with a 9-0 record. They have now won 22 straight dual meets and have not lost since January of 2016.
The next task for the Hoosier squads will be to prepare for Big Ten tournament play, which will begin February 14th in Columbus, Ohio.
We have breaking news coming from Punxsutawney Phil in Pennsylvania, saying that he needs you to support Indiana athletics this week.
Here are the events where you can go to earn your Crimson Guard reward points.
When Hoosier Sports Night continues, IU women's basketball beat reporter Austin Render talks with us in the studio about the Hoosiers' success against Wisconsin.
And 2017 was quite a year for IU athletics. We'll review the top 5 Hoosier moments. You're watching Hoosier Sports Night.
Welcome back to Hoosier Sports Night. The women's basketball team has been on a roll lately. Let's toss it over to Joe Cantor, who's with IU women's basketball beat reporter Austin Render to talk about their recent success.
Thanks, Pam, and thanks for joining us in the studio, Austin. Give us a rundown of how the women's basketball season has gone so far, for maybe those that haven't been paying as close attention.
Well, they got off to a little bit of a slow start, dropping a couple games early in the season to teams like Chattanooga that maybe they shouldn't have, but right now this team is really feeling it. They have won 3 straight games, including their latest against Rutgers, which was a huge win last weekend over a team that had previously been ranked in the top 25. So this team is really catching their stride at the right time, and it's really a team effort right now. We know that Tyra Buss and Amanda Cahill are the top players on this team, but the freshmen and even Kim Royster down low are really making great plays.
Now, you mentioned some key contributors like Tyra Buss and Amanda Cahill, but you also alluded to those freshmen that have been lighting it up. These are young players. What can you tell me about them?
Well, Jalen Penn is the girl to watch for Indiana. Jalen Penn has a lot of talent coming out of Louisville. She is probably going to be this team's best player next season, but she's a great role player for Amanda Cahill and for Tyra Buss this year. And Bendu Yaney, I think, deserves a little bit more credit than she's maybe gotten this year. She's been kind of inconsistent here and there, but really good stuff from Bendu Yaney this year as well as Jalen Penn.
Now, the leaders of this team have made it clear they want to make the NCAA tournament. For that to happen, what are the freshmen going to have to do down the stretch?
Well, the freshmen have to step up, and I think the word that Coach Morin has used all year is consistency, and they need to be consistent. They've been in and out. Jalen Penn's had days where she goes for 20 and days where she goes for 4. Same thing with Bendu Yaney, a little bit less than 20, but they need to both be a little bit more consistent for Coach Morin and company to make more of a run here as we head into February and March.
All right, great stuff. Now, I can't let you get out of here without giving me a prediction for how this team ends up this season. Where do you see them falling when it all shakes out?
Well, it's going to be a big stretch here. They have 2 more home games here in Indiana. Then they go to Purdue. Then they have another home game to finish things out on senior night. They really need to win a couple of these to put themselves in position for the women's NIT, I think. The NCAA tournament may be a little bit out of reach, but the women's NIT is very much a possibility for this Hoosier team.
All right, well, you heard it here first from IUS TV Sports women's basketball beat reporter Austin Render. Pym and Meredith, back to you.
Thanks, Joe. We hope to see the Hoosiers continue to dominate Big Ten play as they take on the Northwestern Wildcats at home on Sunday at noon. The men's tennis team was in action this past weekend, going up against USC and SMU. Indiana came up short to the Trojans 6-1 last Friday, but bounced back the next day by defeating SMU 4-0. IU coach Jeremy Wertzman said to be satisfied with his team's performance and that the Hoosiers will seek to stay on the winning tracks this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, the USC match to play a top 5 team and to have 4 3-setters going on at the same time, I think gives us some confidence that we can play at that level, and we are playing at a high level. It was great to back it up against SMU, who made the NCAA tournament last year and historically has been a very good team. So, yeah, we're happy with that weekend, and I think this week's been a good start so far to get ready for the weekend.
Dartmouth and Arizona?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, the USC match to play a top 5 team and to have 4 3-setters going on at the same time, I think gives us some confidence that we can play at that level, and we are playing at a high level. It was great to back it up against SMU, who made the NCAA tournament last year and historically has been a very good team. So, yeah, we're happy with that weekend, and I think this week's been a good start so far to get ready for the weekend.
Up next, IU will return to Bloomington to match up against Dartmouth on Friday at 6 p.m. and on Sunday, IU will play Arizona at noon. Make sure to find your way to the IU Tennis Center to catch the action.
The Indiana wrestling team went out west this past weekend to take on a pair of ranked opponents in search of their first Big Ten victory. To kick things off on Friday night, the Hoosiers faced off against the number 21 ranked Wisconsin Badgers. The Hoosiers got off to a hot start thanks to pins by Elijah Oliver at 125 pounds and Cole Weaver at 141 pounds. The Hoosiers were unable to maintain that momentum throughout and lost by a final score of Wisconsin 24, Indiana 19.
Less than 48 hours later, Indiana arrived in Lincoln to take on the number 16 ranked Nebraska Cornhuskers. Indiana had another hot start this time by Garrett Pepple at 133 pounds. Though the Hoosiers would experience deja vu and falter in the second half of the duel, this second half effort by Nebraska would make for a final score of Nebraska 23, Indiana 18.
Up next, the Hoosiers will hold not 1 but 2 duels this weekend in Bloomington. On Friday, February 2nd, Indiana will face off against the Illinois Fighting Illini, and on Sunday, February 4th, the Hoosiers will face off against none other than the Purdue Boilermakers. New head coaches, record breakers, top tournament seeds. What do all of these things have in common? IU Athletics experienced every one of these events. Hoosier Sports Nite takes a look back at the top 5 sports stories that happened in 2017 right here at IU.
To be a program changer, I wanted to help
build the program up to what it's supposed to be and what it deserves to be.
Odds were against her when she came to Indiana, that she wasn't going to be big enough, she wasn't going to be tall enough, she wasn't going to be strong enough, and she's just proved so many people wrong.
Corner for the Hoosiers to be taken by Schwartz.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's my great honor and pleasure for the first time ever to introduce to you the new head men's basketball coach at Indiana University, Archie Miller.
Make this great state, all of our alums, our former players, this university, and everyone who's growing up in the state of Indiana very, very proud, because the expectations are set high and they're achievable.
And what a year it was. We can't wait to see what 2018 has in store for Hoosier athletes, coaches, and fans.
Don't forget to like our page, IUSTV Sports on Facebook, and follow us on Twitter at IUSTV Sports. For Meredith Strewing, I'm Pai Mamadi. We'll see you next week.